Chapter 2, Section 3, Conditional Statements. A conditional statement is a statement that can be written in if-then form.
Example, if walking is so good for you, then my mailman shouldn't look like Jabba the Hutt. An if-then statement is written in the form if P, then Q. The phrase immediately following the word then is called the hypothesis. The phrase immediately following the word then is called the conclusion. In our example, if walking is good for you is the hypothesis. My mailman shouldn't look like Jabba the Hutt is the conclusion. Example 2. If 4x plus 8 equals 16, then x equals 2. The hypothesis of this is 4x plus 8 equals 16, and the conclusion is x equals 2. Example 2b. If an angle is over 90 degrees, then the angle is obtuse. The hypothesis of this example is an angle is over 90 degrees, and the conclusion, the angle is obtuse.
You write an if-then statement. First identify the hypothesis and conclusion of each statement. Then write each statement in if-then form.
A math teacher loves to solve problems is the statement. The hypothesis is you are a math teacher. The conclusion is you love to solve problems. The statement is if you are a math teacher, then you love to solve problems. Example B. I think, then, therefore I am is the statement. The hypothesis, if I think. The conclusion, I am. Statement, if I think, then therefore I am.
Example 3. Truth values of conditionals. Determine the truth values of the following statements.
If you are 18 years old, then you vote in all elections. A. You are over 18 years old, you vote in an election.
The hypothesis is true since you're over 18 years old, and the conclusion is true because you vote. Since both are true, the conditional statement is true. B. You are 16 years old and you vote.
The hypothesis is false because you're not over 18. The conclusion is false because you cannot vote since you are under 18. Since both are false, the conditional statement is false. Example 4, relative conditionals. Write the converse, inverse, and counterpositive of each conditional statement, determining whether each relative conditional is true or false. If a statement is false, find the counterexample.
A. If you live in Des Moines, then you live in Iowa. The converse is if you live in Iowa, you live in Des Moines, which is false. The contrapositive, if you don't live in Iowa, you don't live in Des Moines. That's true. And the inverse, if you don't live in Des Moines, then you don't live in Iowa. False.
Example 4b. The sum of two complementary angles is 90 degrees. The converse, if the sum of the two angles is 90 degrees, then the two angles are complementary. And that is false.
The converse, if the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then the angles are complementary. True. Inverse, if the angles aren't complementary, then the sum isn't 90 degrees. False.